Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here in Savage. I'm here tonight with some members of my family here. My wife, Robin, is here. We'll be celebrating our 28th wedding anniversary next month. And Robin reminded me as we drove here tonight that when she stayed home with some of our children when we were younger, when they were young, she actually had a consulting job with the school system. She works with deaf and hard of hearing children. And some of her consulting work was here at Bowman Bridge. So it brings back memories for her to come back. I will tell you, I'm a lifelong Howard County resident. I went to Appleton High School, and when I went to Appleton High School, the Savage community was part of that Appleton High School cluster. So I had a lot of friends here at Savage and spent a lot of time here. A lot of times playing baseball over at the Savage field. So I care deeply about Howard County. I've been here. I want to make sure it continues to be impressive. I served on the Howard County Council for 6 years, from 1998 to 2004, and then served in the Maryland General Assembly and the Maryland State Senate for the last 10 years. My goal is to make Howard County an even greater place to live. My goal is to make sure everybody has a seat at the table. I have traveled around this entire county over the last year and a half that I've been running. I've had 6 town hall meetings, one right down the road here at Carroll Baldwin Hall. So I can hear the concerns that you have, that the residents of Howard County have. And I've heard a lot of things that are unique to their communities, but also heard a lot of things the same. A lot of concern about trust. A lot of concern about the government not letting you know what's going on. And so as Howard County Executive, my biggest goal will be to make sure you feel that you are included in all of our decisions. And I see I have 10 seconds, so I'll stop.
Outstanding. The first question then, again, you have 60 seconds to answer each of these, and we can get more questions and potentially take less time, is given residents of Howard County have recently weathered a national housing crisis, what would you do to assist them?
I assume you're talking about the foreclosure issues?
Absolutely.
Okay. As I served in the Maryland General Assembly, and I see Shane Pendergrass is here, we've dealt a lot of that. We've done a lot of help for folks in Maryland. We try to give them opportunities and resources to be able to deal with these issues. I would continue to try to work with my colleagues my former colleagues in Annapolis to continue that process to make sure that we have the resources available. I think as a Howard County executive, my goal would be to make sure that everybody in Howard County knows what's available out there, making sure that all communities know that, making sure that we reach across all cultures, making sure that we reach across cultures that maybe do not have English as their first language to make sure they know what resources are available to them. And also I think it goes to the point of having a nonprofit resource center. One that I think hopefully we'll have over the next 4 years built, where we have all of our nonprofits, our main nonprofits, together in one building, so those who may need help with foreclosures or other issues will be able to come together and get the services they need. The biggest issue is to make sure we include everybody, make sure that everybody in every community has access to those resources.
Outstanding, thank you. The next question is in regards to LGBT rights. What are your perspectives on folks within that community with supporting them better than Howard County?
Well, you have had to have been asleep in Maryland if you didn't know my position on LGBT. I am a strong proponent for those in the gay community and the transgender community. I have been a strong advocate for marriage equality. As you may recall, I was the Senate Minority Leader when I took my position to support marriage equality, and then I wasn't. It's because I stood up for an issue I thought was important. I believe it's a civil rights issue, and I worked very hard on that. The same with the gender identity issue, the Fairness for All Marylanders Act. I sponsored that for 2 years. I was proud to be a sponsor, and I believe strongly that all Marylanders should be treated equally, regardless of their sexual orientation. Just like my father taught me. My dad moved here in the 1950s and got involved in the civil rights movement. He was the first white person to join the NAACP of Howard County. To this day, he's still the only white person to be president of that chapter. He taught me the importance of civil rights, and I continue that legacy by supporting the rights of those in the gay community.
Outstanding. Sarah Kittleman, given that there are an additional 6,100 additional vehicles and 4,100 more residents within Howard County, what will you do to ensure more than adequate infrastructure for our residents?
Well, I think that's a really important question, and I think that part of that goes to our adequate public facilities ordinance, the APFO, because dealing with the overcrowding of our schools as well as our traffic congestion. Almost a year ago it seems like, I came out and said that I would make sure that we reinstitute that task force for APFO to make sure we look at all different possibilities, including the traffic, of course, and figure out how best we can do the transportation tests on that. We also maybe need to looking at independent traffic studies for some of these things. Right now, usually the people who are putting in the projects are doing the traffic studies. It's nice to have an independent view on that, and I think we should look at possibly doing that and helping that to go forward so we can make sure that we have non-biased traffic studies coming in so we understand the full impact of developments. I also believe that we need to work on more mass transit. Bus rapid transit would help us to get more people off the street, off the roads and able to get to the MARC stations and other locations in Howard County. So I think we really need to focus on that. I think we as a county can work in a regional solution with other counties. My relationship with people in Annapolis and throughout this region would be very helpful for that.
Thank you, Senator Kittleman. What is your stance and what do you think should be done in respect to legalization of marijuana?
I do not support legalization of marijuana. I was one of the 2 co-sponsors in the Maryland State Senate for the decriminalization of marijuana. And I worked hard on that bill with Senator Bobby Zirkin, who's a Democrat from Baltimore County, who actually has endorsed me in my run for Howard County Executive, a Democrat leader in the state Senate. I support decriminalization of marijuana because I believe that the way it was being enforced was desperate between 2 different groups, disparate. And I believe that there are young African Americans in Baltimore City especially who were having a very difficult time because they were getting criminal records for very small amounts of marijuana. I don't want to have a young person's life ruined because they got caught with 1 marijuana cigarette. All of us have done things in our past that we're not proud of. All of us have done things that we need to grow up and maybe mature. But we need to make sure that people aren't penalized for the rest of our lives for such small amounts. That doesn't mean that we want to have anyone using marijuana, but I just don't want people to be penalized for the rest of their lives because they have 1 marijuana cigarette.
Thank you, Senator Kittleman. We have 30 seconds for closing statements.
You've got to be kidding me. Anyway, it was great to be here. I want to tell you my closing, I know I have 30 seconds. My philosophy, and my father taught me this, was that we need to have servant leaders. Leaders that know that you are the boss. And I've gone around this entire county and I've talked to people all over and I've talked to elementary schools a lot. I'm in the schools more than I think almost any other elected official. You've heard about the stimulated congressional hearings, maybe some of your kids have been in those. I judged 16 of them this spring, full days. My wife is here, she tells me, Allan, how did you miss 3 weeks from work? But I was there because I cared about the kids. And I really believe, I taught them that I'm not the boss, you're the boss. And I will continue to have town hall meetings like I did here at Carroll Baldwin Hall earlier this year. Once I'm county executive, I will come out and reach out to you. I will come to your community and other communities of Howard County because I understand that you're the boss and I work for you. So thank you very much. Hopefully you will consider me and vote for me in November. I ask you to vote. Thank you.